Hi everybody, welcome back to Carlton Black Ops King's vlog for this week, or should I say the second one of this week. I'm now going to speak about something which didn't get much press but should have done. And it's one of these areas where the British public time and time again are frankly not on the same page as me. They are against me on this actual issue, or so they say. But I think if the British public actually look at the reality, look at the facts, they'll probably be on my hymn sheet. Okay, so what's happened? Basically what's happened is that three guys were out trying to do a robbery in South London. And they were disturbed by the police. The police happened to catch one of these guys, took him back to the station, and as is the case and normally happens, one then goes to the person's house and searches it to see if there's any proceeds of crime there. So, you know, anything related to the offences which they've been committed. When the police do that, a couple of officers, and they come out, there's a guy with a gun on a moped that aims a gun at the police officers and tries to release the third individual as he's getting back into the van. So the police, hey, they don't know what to do. These guys spin around him on their mopeds saying, get out of the way, we're going to take you. And the police then are obviously fearful. They wonder what they can do. What's the situation? How can they defend themselves? Never mind members of the public who may be around. The guy gets away for a short period of time and is subsequently recaptured. Now, that's not the point. The point is this. This shows total and utter lack of respect for the police. But more importantly than the utter lack of respect, it shows you that the criminal knows the police cannot do their job. So the criminal is armed and the police isn't. Now, I hear time and time again, we don't want to be like America. As soon as you talk about arming the police routinely, we don't want to be like America. The reality is that the United States is one country in the world of the 212, I think it is, countries in the world. Do you know how many countries of those 212 whose police officers don't carry firearms? Well, I'll tell you, it's probably only 12. Okay? The vast majority of police officers all over the world carry. Now, what you're going to have is somebody say, yes, but we are different. It shows that we can police without arms and that makes our police better than every other police in the world. Well, let me put this in this context for you. As far as I'm concerned, and I know I'm not wrong, Northern Ireland is 100% part and parcel of the United Kingdom. Well, every police officer in Northern Ireland routinely carries a sidearm. Routinely. Every time that he or she goes to work, they have a weapon. The amount of weapons drawn by police in Northern Ireland is far less than the amount of weapons drawn by police in London, where only about 3% of police officers carry firearms. So that might tell you something. So, in other words, in London, 97% of police officers do not carry a firearm routinely. 97%. Only about 3% are routinely armed. Now, there's another 3 or 4% who carry arms as well for certain issues. So, you know, at its most in London, it's 94% are unarmed. If you come outside of London, England, Scotland, Wales, frankly, practically 96, 97% of officers don't carry any firearms. So that means, as and when an incident like this happens, there are no armed people there to defend colleagues, to defend the public, and to defend anybody else who might be caught up in such an issue. Which shows itself absolutely clearly when you see a terrorist incident whereby somebody has knives and stabs a whole load of people and the police don't turn up till about 6 or 7 minutes later. But the amount of damage you can cause in 6 or 7 minutes with a knife is incredible. The other thing that I should say about this issue is, and think about it, one of those other nations that doesn't carry firearms is China. Another one of those nations that doesn't carry firearms is India. Listen, Neither China or India police by consent. So I don't want to hear this point of we're policing by consent, therefore we don't have firearms. Austria polices by consent. Their police officers have firearms. Australia's officers police by consent. Their officers have firearms. Canada polices by consent. Their officers have firearms. Germany, I mean, you can go on practically every nation in the world, and they all police by consent. Japan's the lowest crime rate in the world. Their officers all carry firearms. So please, don't use this issue of, oh, if you have a weapon, then crime gets worse, because it doesn't. It's nonsense. But what it does do is it means every officer is capable of dealing with every issue and then on the spot. I'll leave you with this thought. If you went to a dentist and you had a bad tooth and it needed drilling, a rare occurrence, I admit, but if the dentist said, listen, come back in about 15 minutes when I can get a drill, you'd say that guy is not a professional. Well, that is what police officers are saying to you. Come back in 10 to 15 minutes while I go and get a guy who's got a drill. When actually you realise that that drill is required there and then. It's no good 10 or 15 minutes later. Okay, folks, subscribe below. Any thoughts you have on the issue, give us a shout. See you later.